Here.
Ms. Hamlin?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Ms. Hazel Baker?
Here.
Mr. Janet?
Here.
Welcome, everyone. With us tonight, we have our Assistant City Manager, Chris Weinich, Clerk of Council, Misty Clark, City Manager, Dave Kennedy, City Solicitor, Joe Braun, Captain Gangler, Chief Gabrielson. We also have our chaplain, Spence is here, Lieutenant Betker, and Officer Parks, and former council members, Kent Blair and Todd Osborne. So welcome, everyone. We would want to note that Harry Laughlin, who was a longtime officer and retired as a lieutenant from our police department, passed away yesterday, I believe. He's also a longtime resident, was he not? So keep the Laughlin family and the police family in your thoughts. Captain Gangler, want to start us off?
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, City staff members, and those in attendance this evening for this opportunity. When people hear the term law enforcement, they tend to picture uniformed officers responding to calls or making arrests. But in reality, it's a shared system of responsibility, constituting not only of the enforcement of laws, but community service as a whole, and includes more than just a single profession. Along with police agencies, government leadership, community organizations, and citizens themselves play a major role by addressing concerns and building trust. When all these pieces work together, law enforcement becomes less about reaction and more about prevention, accountability, and shared ownership of public safety. There are times when members of one of these groups stand apart due to their involvement, actions, or decisions. When this occurs, it is appropriate they be honored and recognized for going above and beyond the standard measure. Tonight, we are proud to recognize a local family who exemplifies that level of commitment to their community. The Loveland Police Department would like to bestow our Citizen Award of Commendation to the Scheiding family for their unselfish devotion during a trying event that occurred in our city. If you would please allow me the honor of reading the presentation of the award. The Award of Commendation is hereby presented to the Scheiding family in recognition of their superior handling of a difficult and sensitive situation and for actions that reflect the highest standards of compassion, responsibility, and community service. On January 31, 2026, the Scheiding family demonstrated extraordinary presence of mind and selflessness when a vulnerable juvenile sought refuge in their home during dangerously cold weather conditions. Recognizing the immediate risk to the child's safety and well-being, the family acted without hesitation to provide warmth, comfort, and care, ensuring the child was protected from further harm. Throughout the incident, the family displayed exceptional patience, empathy, and unity. They worked together to create a calm, nurturing environment, prioritizing the emotional and physical needs of the child while maintaining a safe and stable household. Their willingness to open their home for an extended period, allowing the child to remain secure and supportive setting until appropriate assistance could respond, demonstrates superior judgment and an unwavering commitment to do what is right. The actions of the Scheiding family exemplify the principles upon which the Award of Commendation is founded. Their conduct reflects the very best of our community and serves as a powerful reminder of the profound impact compassion and humanity can have during moments of crisis. For their exceptional actions and exemplary handling of a difficult situation, the Scheiding family is deserving of the Award of Commendation.
Step forward and get a picture here.
I would just like to say that we, in no way, were expecting an award, and we're very grateful for the Loveland Department, Police Department, and the way that they responded. and just how like the situation itself it was very sad circumstances. So both Officer Parks and Mike were great with my kids and the juvenile that was at our house. So we just appreciate the department, and we're glad to be a part of this community.
Picture with all of you. We'll stay back here. Chaplain, you want? Chaplain, you want to get in the picture?
Yeah, exactly. You might go left. There you go. There you go.
Got room?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You see? Yeah. Right.
Thanks for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Can you see the camera? That's easy.
Huh?
It's easy.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We planned it that way. No, we did.
We planned it. You did plan it.
All right. I think communications. Right? We don't have any open forum. Mr. Weinich?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. In your packet is a letter from Duke Energy. This letter is a kind of a typical letter that comes out every so often, probably every 5, 6, 7 years. This is Duke's way of putting out their first negotiating tactic for rates. So this goes to not just all communities. It goes to all the advisory councils, everyone that's involved. So eventually they'll go to PUCO and ask for this rate increase. Well, in that interim, until they meet with PUCO, you're going to see a lot of different groups and a lot of different advisory councils come out and say, "Hey, this is crazy." You know, you saw the letter and how much they're looking to increase it. So this is typical. I talked to our energy consultant to talk to them about it. He said, yeah, you know, they do this every so often when they're looking to raise their rates. This is their first step, just like any negotiation. But we talked internally, and I think we are going to draft a letter on behalf of council and submit just our comments based on the proposed rate increases. So we'll likely have that at the next council meeting for you all to sign.
Okay. Thank you. Any comments or questions? Ms. Hamlin?
Yeah, I would just like to say I appreciate the offer to do this letter. I think it's important, even though this is at the very early stages. What they are asking for is a 75% increase in rates, and I think residents should be rightfully outraged by this. In comparison, the consumer price index was up 2.4% over the last 12 months, ending February 2026. So this is far and above what I think is reasonable. And so, yeah, I just want to say thank you for offering to do this letter on behalf of the residents. I think it's, I don't think it's too early to get out in front of this.
Any other comments, questions? All right, next is review and approval of the minutes from the March 10th, 2026 meeting. Any additions, changes?
Move to approve as written.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Ms. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker?
Yes.
Mr. Jernick?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Mr. Weinich?
Thank you, Mayor. Every so often, in fact, it was 3 years ago that we had a contract with Alta Fiber. Alta Fiber, if you recall, used to be Cincinnati Bell. They've transitioned into Alta Fiber. They've been our internet and Ethernet provider for the city and for our city buildings for several years, over a decade. Kind of in the landscape of internet and Ethernet capabilities, in reality, there really is only one other player that we could potentially get our internet and Ethernet from, and that's Spectrum. And we did talk to them briefly, and there would be a lot of hardware upgrades as well as a lot of basically first-time fees. So in your packet, you see obviously that there is a price increase from the previous 3-year term, but keep in mind the last 3-year term was a fixed rate, as will this one. And also of note, if you recall when we were talking about our phone systems, we did take ATC, a local company here in Cincinnati, has offered their services to us to do audits, and they actually, during this audit, identified another area not necessarily directly tied to Alta Fiber, but it's actually CBTS. So we will be seeing in the future about a $1,600 savings per year going to these new network switches that we would maintain. Currently, we're paying CBTS to maintain these, but Velicor has said as part of their current contract, they have no issues being the service provider for those. So that's just keep in mind, you do see an increase. Yearly, we were looking at $40,200, and now we'll be closer to $56,000 for internet and Ethernet. But we will be saving $1,600 in year 2 per month on that bill, or basically that same concept. And then we will be taking off several $75 per month charges once we get our new phone system up and running. So as you see in year 2027, the $56,000 comes down to approximately $53,000. So with that, I will take any questions.
Any questions, comments? Ms. Hamlin?
Could you speak to, I know this is probably a boilerplate agreement, but the agreement does not list terms and conditions, but instead it points to a website, which of course the website can change. So how are we handling variable terms and conditions?
Yeah, so we, through discussions, we had what we're going to do, and I reached out to Alta Fiber. Obviously, we have not signed this yet. It'll be signed after a potential motion and approval. But we have talked to them about doing a screen grab of those terms and conditions, and those will be applied or put in as an exhibit to this. So we have had those discussions.
Thank you.
And just as a point of clarification going forward too, Mr. Kennedy and I have talked about this is kind of a new mode of contract where they do these, where they just say reference the website. In the future, Mr. Kennedy and I will be printing those off for the current, what they currently are, and including.
Any other comments, questions? All right. Ms. Hamlin?
I also noticed that there is, we're bound by arbitration in this agreement. And I guess I would just like to ask the city solicitor if he could weigh in on whether or not confidentiality is enforceable, given the fact that obviously we are a municipality that is subject to sunshine laws, et cetera.
Can I weigh in, Mayor?
Of course. Yes.
Yes. So the answer to that is the outcome of the arbitration is not confidential or any agreement that would be the product of an arbitration, but the proceedings themselves are confidential to the extent that, like any kind of a mediation process, the information is not shared that goes back and forth or recorded in any way. But any outcome would obviously be subject to the rules of arbitration and would generate some kind of a finding or public document. I would also point out it's not uncommon that these adhesion contracts like this will have arbitration provisions. While we prefer not to have them in, some agreements, Facebook, things like that, always have those. But nevertheless, this one actually provides for arbitration to be held here in Cincinnati, so it's less offensive. So,
Thank you.
All right. Any further comment? Read the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Cincinnati Bell Telephone Company, doing business as Alta Fiber for internet and Ethernet services.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Ms. Hamlin.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker.
Yes.
Mr. Jernick.
Yes.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Mr. Bateman.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 27 carries by a vote of 7-0.
Mr. Weinich?
Thank you, Mayor. We are at the stage with Loveland Madeira Road Phase 2, where they typically, ODOT asks for a what's called an LPA ODOT-led project agreement. Once again, this is the phase that goes from West Loveland to approximately Valley View and includes the roundabout. We're currently at what's considered Stage 2 with ODOT. And this is, you've seen these before. This is a kind of a formality in the process when you go through these this type of funding. Just as a reminder, this was a 79-21 split with a cap of approximately $4.6 million coming from federal funding. In your packet, I've outlined kind of where we're at with the project. When we scoped this project, the cost at that point was around $6.2 million. Since that, we've gone through Stage 1 and Stage 2. And between those, and during that time, we identified a couple other things that we were going to add to the project. One of the big ticket items that we're going to add that will be funded through the WMR is the water line replacement throughout this corridor. It is a aging and failing part of our water system, so this is a perfect candidate for those funds. The other things that have kind of come up that have brought the cost up has included the utility relocations. I think in the beginning when this was scoped, the extent of the utility relocations was a little bit of an unknown, and it's becoming clearer now. So we're honing into this price a little closer. So with that said, you see there's obviously a delta between what the feds are giving us in funding and what we're going to owe, and that's approximately $2 million. We did apply this past round with OPWC to get approximately 51% of that funded. Today, we did have a phone call with OPWC. Although we haven't seen the formal letter from them, they did indicate that we will be funded. So that takes a big portion of that $2 million and brings it down to something a lot more palatable and a lot more to where we had it originally scoped in the budget. Also, another update on this project. I know I've said it before about this being delayed, but it is delayed until 2028. This is due to the right-of-way acquisition, specifically with the United States Post Office. When ODOT saw that we were obtaining right-of-way from the U.S. Post Office, they immediately raised the red flag and brought to our attention that they have the ability to, as does anyone, but they have the ability when we present them with a right-of-way take, they have the ability to wait 12 months before they answer. So that immediately put basically a 1-year pause or a 1-year extension on this project. There's possibilities that it could go quicker, but the way ODOT has their funding set up, they wanted to prepare for potentially the worst. So that's why you're seeing the delay in this project. We are having conversations with OPWC to make sure they understand that this will be delayed and our funding from them. That should all be fine. We're going to work all that out. But other than that, the project is going well. It's just there's a lot of coordination in this project with the bearing of the utilities. So it's been a trying time with Duke, but we're continuing to forge through it.
So if the post office answers more timely, then we're okay going forward more quickly?
So we've had that conversation with ODOT, and they said if we get favorable feedback and favorable conversation with the U.S. Post Office, they're willing to bump the project up closer to the original timeline. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Any questions, comments? Yes, Mr. Jaranek?
Thank you, Mr. Weinich. Is this basically because of the sidewalk?
Yes. So it does. There's really no way to. So the way the take that's happening on that side is the 11-foot, the pathway that's going on that side. There's literally no way to put it in without obtaining some right of way. So that's what it's attributed to.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments, questions? Yes, Ms. Hazelbaker.
So, I mean, I appreciate kind of you walking through and answering a lot of the questions around kind of the bulk of the increase, because it was an unexpected kind of increase. Could you talk through kind of how you plan for inflation? I feel like we've planned for it, but because of the delay with 2028, and I think if we could maybe talk through some of, I feel like this is a little bit of a chicken and egg scenario in this area, because we know there's going to be changes in this area, you know, over the coming years. So talking through kind of maybe some of those traffic concerns about kind of the thoroughfare that's there, if you could address those. I know most of this was kind of pretty far along as we kind of go through it, but now that we're kind of getting into those details, I think that would help around there. And I do just appreciate that your kind of approach on how to get half of that, you know, part that's our portion with that grant. So just appreciation there. But if you could talk through some of the additional items, it'd be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, the costs at stage 2 include approximately a 25% contingency. That contingency is a combination of inflation and just general contingency. So as you go through the stages, the estimate gets honed in closer and closer. So there has been a inflation factor put on that $7.2 million based on the 2028 schedule. And then as far as the thoroughfare and kind of looking at future plans for that area, I think, you know, the biggest question or the biggest one is, you know, the school and what's going to happen in the future there. The way we're designing the medians and the curb cuts, they're all going to function as if the school is still there. However, should anything change or any other new development come in, as with any new development, there will be a traffic study that would have to be done. And with that traffic study, there'll be improvements that'll be recommended through that study. And as is with most developments, they would be on the hook for any of those improvements. So let's say a median island doesn't line up with the new drive that they want to put in. They would be responsible for any of those changes. It's not fun. It's not, you know, we're not happy to tear something. However, it would not be on the city's dime is what I'm kind of getting to. So does that sort of answer it?
It does. Thank you.
Any other questions, comment, Ms. Hamlin?
Yeah, I noticed this is Scrivener's, I guess you'd call it. There are some project identifying numbers, agreement number, PID number, route section numbers. There is a disconnect between what's on the first page and on the signature page. So somebody just needs to correct that.
Yeah, those will be updated, and that was brought to my attention, so we will get those updated prior to signing. So those have been sent over already by ODOT, but it was too late to get in the packet.
And then if I could, a follow-up, then on page 4, there's also some bracketed editor's notes that should also be removed.
Correct. Yes, we will get those cleaned up.
Any other comments? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Sorry to go back to the right-of-way acquisition, but I know that we've talked through getting consulting for that. Mm-hmm. That 12-month timer hasn't been activated yet, or it has. We haven't contacted USPS to say we intend to take this. That's a piece that has not happened yet.
It has not, because we just signed that contract. Actually, you just approved that contract, and there was a change that had to be made after the fact based on this. It didn't increase the price, but the scoping, basically the schedule had to be changed because of that. So that we have not touched base with them in the formal sense that ODOT requires. So that has not happened yet.
Okay, but with this passage of this resolution, we would be moving that one step forward to a potential right-of-way acquisition.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Read the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an LPA ODOT-led project agreement for the Loveland Madeira Phase 2 project.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker?
Yes.
Jarnick?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Resolution 28 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
All right, next I guess is mine. We, as a council, evaluate the clerk of council each year. just for her role as clerk of council, whereas certainly the bulk of Ms. Clark's duties are as, what is it, executive assistant?
Assistant to.
Assistant to the city manager. Assistant to the city manager. So on our small portion, we did that, and this is Ms. Clark's raise, which seems like a pittance, but we're only evaluating on a small part of what she does. Dave will do better.
Yes.
His part. But certainly, I think all of council is very pleased with Ms. Clark's performance. Does an outstanding job of all duties that we need her to do as the clerk of council. Is exceptional. Hasn't been clerk of the year for a while, but nonetheless, does an outstanding job. Does anybody have anything to add? Yes, Mr. Hart.
I just pass along my thanks and appreciation for the work that Ms. Clark does. Just speaking in terms of her role in this capacity, the job of getting minutes to us and agendas and all that kind of stuff is could be kind of a thankless part of her job. But I would say that it's always done to the highest level. The way she treats people when they come into the council chambers is beyond reproach, and I thank her for all the work that she's a constant, steadfast, positive force in the chambers here, and I appreciate her for that.
Very good. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Goodyear.
I want to echo that as well, and I certainly appreciate everything that Ms. Clark does for all council members. And just as one small example, recently I was very dilatory in getting signed up for going to an event, and I texted her and said, "Hey, was I supposed to sign up for this?" And about 30 seconds later, she said, "You're signed up." She is on top of everything, and that's just a very small example, of course. But I certainly appreciate all she does for council and everything she does for the residents of the city, and I just wanted to thank her for that.
Very good. Anyone else? Mr. Jarrett.
Miss Clark, you are one of the main reasons why Loveland is the sweetheart of Ohio. Thank you.
Very nice. Anyone else? Okay. Read the resolution, Ms. Clark.
Resolution increasing the compensation for the clerk of council.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker.
Yes.
Mr. Jarnick.
Yes.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Mayor Bateman. Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Hamlin.
Yes.
Resolution 29 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Mr. Kennedy.
Yes, I was going to request we table this to our next meeting. I did not have the lease agreement. I do now, but you would need more time to read through it. So I was trying to push this through, and we've got time. So I'll move it to the April 14th meeting, and the lease agreement will be attached to the legislation.
Can we have a motion to table this matter till the next meeting?
Motion to table.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Hazelbaker.
Yes.
Mr. Jarnick.
Yes.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bateman.
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Ms. Hamlin.
Yes.
Mr. Hart.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. We also had the pleasure of doing a performance evaluation for Mr. Kennedy, and so his employment agreement is in the packet for ordinance, which seems odd to me that we read it twice, but so be it.
We're required by the charter.
Is that required?
4.0.
Then we should do that, I suppose. Okay. Would anybody like to say anything about our city manager, Ms. Hamlin?
I would love to. I will just say, being obviously one of the newest members of City Council, we are not too far away from campaigning. And to get 8 people to agree on anything is difficult. But I think the one thing that every person who ran for council in the last election season agreed on was that Dave Kennedy was the biggest asset this city had going for it. So I couldn't agree with that more. And Dave, it is an honor to work with you, and thank you for everything you do.
Mr. Goodyear?
Running the risk of embarrassing Mr. Kennedy, I would just add on that it is always impressive to me not only the ability that Mr. Kennedy has to relate to residents on a one-on-one basis. I mean, he responds to things almost immediately when there's an issue. But I don't know anyone, at least in my professional life, that has worked more hours than Mr. Kennedy does. I mean, he's here very early, he's here late, he's at committee meetings, as Mr. Weinich is as well. He's always doing everything he can, and obviously you see the results that come through his stewardship as city manager. So I'm very happy to support the raise he's getting, and I very much appreciate his work on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, then I'll have something to say. Mr. Kennedy. I mean, we know what a treasure we have in you. We know the work ethic you bring. What I enjoy is how excited you get about the good things that are happening in this city, as much as anyone that lives here and gets to actually enjoy it on a regular basis. You are as excited about the good things happening as any of us can be. It is a pleasure to work with such an honorable, honest, dedicated man, and it is not. I think the best part of it is it's not lost on any of us. We appreciate you while we're here, and we're very lucky to have you. We know that. Is there anything you would like to say?
No, I greatly appreciate it. I have a summary of my annual report where I was going to try to point out the team that is behind all of the things that happen here.
Well, you wait for that then.
Okay.
All right. I'll go ahead and read the ordinance.
Ordinance amending the employment agreement to increase the compensation of the city manager, David Kennedy.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy?
We, a couple years, actually in 2019, the city adopted what we call the Job Creation Incentive Program. And then that was modified. Corey modified it in 2022. It was to make it a little bit more desirable as an economic development tool. It is seen as sort of the counter to the CRA, and the CRA, you could argue, sort of built the Commerce Park. The likes of Keith McCluskey, Oasis, Kenwood Dealer Group, just to touch on a few recent people that have used the CRA as a tool to come into the Commerce Park. Oasis on Love Madeira Road. And the thought was all along is that another tool that the city would have when someone is dealing with an existing structure that would not get as much renovation, so the CRA would not be as beneficial. The CRA, and its most basic point, is very, very valuable for raw property. You're paying X, you're going to put a building on it, the real estate taxes are going to go up. This freezes it for up to 15 years. So the theory was that we would have another incentive that as the city is reaching almost full built out stage, that we wouldn't be lost to potentially have like a Bob Reichert from the Kenwood Dealer Group. For him, in looking at them both, it still was more beneficial to have the CRA because of the amount of renovations that he was going to do. But to have someone who is going to bring potentially $90,000 into the city in perpetuity and not be able to bring them in, because as Chris and I find, other communities are competing. I won't mention the name of the city, but I got a call from a building in the property owner in the Commerce Park who was looking to expand and was pretty convinced he would have to leave the city. And he mentioned to me that insert name of other city was actually offering him a building. And I thought to myself, this is the kind of stuff that we need to have. I know the nice thing about the JCIP versus the CRA, they are brought to the city. Council gets to approve them. We largely administer the CRA in-house. Council only gets involved if someone is not meeting the thresholds and it has to be removed, and that doesn't happen very often. So the thought was that this is a good tool in the toolbox. I make it, it's pretty clear it's not been used. It has been looked at, but it has not been used. And the thought was, since it was when you upgraded it in 2022, you put a provision that it would expire in December 31st, 2025. I just caught it while we were preparing for the Tax Incentive Review Committee, and I thought it would just be go ahead and put another 2 years on it. We'll see where it's at that point in time. There's no changes to what you approved in 2022 in terms of incentives. It just simply expands the deadline.
All right. Thank you. Any comments or questions? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Thanks for the explanation, Mr. Kennedy. I remember when we first set this out, the job creation incentive program. I just had a couple of, comments around it. I I fully support this. I think it's somewhat telling that it hasn't been utilized. So I'm hopeful that in the next 2 years during this term, we'll find the right fit for someone to take advantage of this. I certainly don't see any issues with the numbers, although one thought from my side would be it's a little less interesting on the low end, and maybe there's an opportunity for us down the road to support smaller businesses with less overall payroll and giving them a stronger incentive for helping them sort of get off their feet. I think the sort of startup mentality can make managing payroll and benefits budgets difficult. So if the city can help support some of those smaller businesses through this job creation incentive program, I think that would be a worthwhile endeavor. But I don't see any reason to change this program at this point. But again, just saying that I would love to see the right fit take advantage of this, because I think it is a good complement to a CRA, and in many ways does a little bit more for the business without putting any additional pressure on some of the other systems that the CRA might do with property tax. So anyway, just wanted to give my 2 cents on that, and again, look forward to renewing the next 2 years.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Ms. Hazelbaker?
Yeah, I think as you talk through that, since the JCIP isn't, there's not much interest, and the CRA tool has been so powerful. The councils before me and most of you have served, in that the CRA did a really great job. $28 million investment into the city, 270 jobs created. So that tool seems to be working really well. So I think similar to Vice Mayor Bateman, I think I would love to see this tool really working for us to attract the businesses that we want. And so I think it is a little bit limiting to maybe some of the smaller businesses. So I think, at this time for a couple years, maybe marketing it better, trying to attract and trying to make sure this tool is leveraged. But I think if we could look at maybe other municipalities, I think this one was built off of another municipality, and try to see kind of, and being really intentional about what type of businesses you want and building a plan that maybe they're not big enough for a CRA, but like giving them some incentive to grow their business or do something within the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Read the ordinance, please.
Ordinance amending Chapter 1327 of the City of Loveland Code of Ordinances to extend the program terms of the Job Creation Incentive Program.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy, are you going to cover for Mark?
Mark is down in sunny Florida, and he had a couple utility assessments, both in Hamilton County and in Warren. There were none in Claremont. As we know, because these change fairly regularly, we do pass these, we adopt these as an emergency measure so we can get them moved through. We still can make a minor adjustment if something happens. We don't run back, but doing that over the course of, especially now, April 14th, as March has an extra Tuesday, a lot would happen between now and then.
Any comments or questions on that? We'll go ahead and read the first ordinance.
Ordinance amending liens for unpaid utility bills on property in Hamilton County owed to the City of Loveland and declaring an emergency.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Jarnick?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
Goodyear?
Yes.
Ms. Hamlin?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker?
Yes.
Ordinance 30 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Read the next ordinance, please.
Ordinance assessing liens for unpaid utility bills on property in Warren County owed to the City of Loveland and declaring an emergency.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Hamlin? Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker?
Yes.
Mr. Jarnick?
Yes.
Ordinance 31 is adopted by a vote of 7-0.
Mr. Kennedy?
So, per the city charter, the city manager is required to submit an annual report, which does sort of a look back on the previous year. Typically, I try to work on this during the Christmas, December, but we had a very active grant year, so I was able to get this in before the deadline in the charter. And sometimes we do a presentation, sometimes I just write it, and I just decided this time. So we break it out, and I just wanted to go over some of the bullet points. And I think the theme here is that this is all for naught if these items aren't supported by council, which obviously you do. I mean, grants aren't going to happen unless city council is always willing to do what council does, which is support local matches and making sure that staff, and that's a big part of it. So when you look at the finance, just sort of the high level items that were were pretty impressive was obviously income tax at 7.2, up 448 from 2024. So that first time the city's topped 7 million. And it's an increase of 3.5 for over 12 years. It's a pretty impressive. We thought that one bump was really all COVID related, and it's proven to be not so. And it's a really interesting mix if you think about it, from the Commerce Park in downtown and soon to be in the future with all the work. I think Level Madeira Road is going to be a bigger feeder into that. Real estate tax is driven by $250 million valuation increase in the city over the last 10 years. And if you think about it, that happened at a time when housing number of homes at this city, before my time and back when many of your other time, we were probably popping out 30, 40, 50 homes a year. And a lot of that's changed. I'll touch on that in a little bit. But the recreation land TIF, I mean, if you remember all of those years, the general fund was covering the debt on the recreation land TIF. When we were covering it, hoping that something would happen on the Crispin farm. And now you're seeing the efforts, and council ponied up and ran the sewer main up there and did the property assessment. And out of that, now we're not even at our sweet spot, but we're at 267. So it's able to pay back the general fund, help with projects in Warren County, such as the sidewalks. That's a big deal. The WMR is I can't fathom. It was exactly, I think, as council vision, 585 for the year. Chris just told you that's going to play a role in Level Madeira Road. Is going to play a role in Riverside Drive. The phase 2, and phase 3 of Level Miamiville Road would not have happened without the WMR, because we didn't have enough money to pay the water share. So that's been very, very beneficial. Stormwater increase that couldn't have been more minor, but it really helped level that playing field with stormwater, which is a participant in a lot of capital budgets. And the city ended the year on all funds carryover of $12.62 million. Fire levy funds remain stable. It's interesting when you look at that and you read some of these numbers with a calculator in hand. Levies account for 85% of the fire and EMS operations, and it says A, that it's pretty important, and B, that obviously the city residents support LSFD. Biggest thing, two big things happen in fire operations in 25. One would be the fire station construction. Obviously, the meat of it all occurred in 25, and I really kudos to Chris and Ott that it's just you have this strong engineering analysis, plan reading, and then you got this guy that hands down knows more about fire operations. It was sort of the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase dream team thing. Ooh. And it really helped. It really helped formulate and maneuver through all of these things. And I got to say, I think one of the neatest things that happened in 25 was the naming. The fire station naming, that really was, if you look back on that, and that picture speaks a lot of words. But I think Misty and I will say pulling one behind Ott's back was no small feat. And so he knows everything that's going on, and he did not have a clue. And Misty did a great job putting that together. Moving into police operations, 17,500 calls in 2025, despite basically 3 below authorized staffing, and that's a pretty important thing. And when you bring in a police chief from a highly funded community like Kettering, you in the back of your mind, you're worrying, are they going to be able to adjust to what we work with here? And I think Chief Gabrielson does it every day. 80% of the police budget goes towards salaries, but you're still able to figure out a way to systematically upgrade your equipment, get your officers trained. That is really something special. I would say the highlight of the police operation, something that Mayor Bailey had a big role in, was the SRO number 5. I was listening to Chief Gabrielson speak the other day at Loveland U, and he mentioned something that stuck with me. Communities our size don't have 5 SROs, and that is really something that says a lot about City Council's commitment to safety, and the school board would right along with you. And that is a 50-50 right down the center. That's not just 50-50 in the salary. That's gas. That's everything you can imagine. And that's a real important thing. You know, you never know the wonderful life thing on a thing, but you just got to think that maybe you've really done something special for a family with this, because luckily you'll never know because the investment was made. And, you know, behind the scenes, what you don't see is Chief Gabrielson and I trying to figure out how this works because, you know, LECC is not going to have it, but he came up with the idea for the community resource officer. And that was the glue that put this whole thing together. I really appreciate Council Kathy and Mike Broadwater really coming up and realizing that this could happen. Under parks, obviously, we made a big dent in Nisbet, the biggest dent in Nisbet. We're going to know more on Thursday with the bid opening for the amphitheater. But I just found it interesting that park expenditures from 2020 to 2025 have gone up 81%. That's really impressive. Under economic development, biggest deal in 25 would have been the Kenwood dealership. As I mentioned, 90,000 is anticipated in income tax and 120 new jobs. Love of Madeira Road is by its very nature an economic development project. And when that is fully done, I think with the other incentives, maybe the JCIP, maybe there's another incentive that fits better into retail type businesses, comes together. But I think, and Chris really is steering that ship. That's when you're dealing with multiple funding sources and you're dealing with underground utilities and you're dealing with ODOT, it's not an easy process, but it's just that grind of what he does all the time on that. And I think the Denise Mirror factor and what's going to go in there will help set the tone. And I think that is very important. As I mentioned, residential development is beginning to continue to slow. There's only 8 lots remaining in Chimney Ridge. And the whole focus now is into infill. And the Planning and Zoning Commission was working on that last night, updating the zoning changes, not just for infill, but to better control it. Not stop it, but control it and make it blend. I think that was important. Under infrastructure, I always make a big deal about it, about the road program, because I guess just because I was here back in the $280,000 days, which was you're spending good money after bad, knowing that you're not keeping up with the deterioration levels. $6 million over 6 years in the road program is incredible. And you talk to Scott Wisby and he'll tell you, we're now doing entire subdivisions. We're not leaving roads that once they reach that number, and I don't know the exact year, but there's a certain year when they become so alligator that they deteriorate at such a rapid pace. Now you're paying double and triple and it's falling apart. And then winners are causing less damage, all because council's committed to investing in our roads. I think, and I don't want to keep embarrassing Chris, but I think grabbing hold of PFAS the way he did and the 1.3 million principal forgiveness, which we call it because we have to, it was a grant, and being able to get that and move this along, where Chris is going to be coming to council soon to make a presentation on a real important criteria that the city has reached. I think the $1.9 million Cherokee water main project, that was, I don't know. I can only say, obviously, in my 12 years, that's the biggest water main project in the history of the city. Greg Landsman, OPWC, WMR, traffic improvements on West Loveland. Now with the finish of the final phase of Lovell Miamiville, $1.2 million in sidewalks connecting 3 neighborhoods. There was some nice small sidewalk projects. Osage and Hannah. I think of all the smaller projects, what Jason Brock led with along the bike trail was an extremely impressive redo. You have to go back and look at those pictures. And obviously, as I said, council support. I just want to wrap it up with personnel. I think that I get to work with these people every day. And a lot of things that you don't hear, not my department, because no one acts that way. And everyone does what they need to do. It's not odd to see anyone working outside of his realm to do what he needs to do. And I think that's important, that my direct team, and I think a lot of it goes back to city council. If you're not going to support the budget the way you do through funding projects that they're passionate about, getting the equipment they need, keeping competitive salaries with those around us, and benefits, but also those little things I think they like, and everyone does. The anniversary recognitions, having people sworn in with their family when they're new hires. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it really does mean a lot to them. I mean, this is their families are here. I just always think that's a pretty cool thing that city does. I'm just wrapping up. The people that I work with the most, a few of them are in here. Misty, we talked about that at the beginning, but talk about working outside of the realm of your day. I don't think when she showed up here many years ago, she was going to know that her title is also event coordinator. And it's not only that, it's also every year, if you get to sit next to her crazy meetings with those groups, the very next day they're going over, oh, sorry, Adam, I'm sorry. But they're immediately going over how to make that better, what they can do, how can Hearts of Fire be added on, and so on. And it's really impressive, and she's just about as integral, I will say, to what I do every day. I with Mike, I think that the HIP thing a few years ago was community orientated policing, and it's maybe not as in vogue anymore. But I think that Mike believes in it wholeheartedly, and how he engages with the community. And he all in on special events, even though we'll admit we don't always invite him to our parade meetings, but he's a little anti that. So, but I think that it says a lot for what he believes. And of course, I don't know with Chief Huber, I don't know someone who wants to always do things better, quicker, faster. I see it every day, and I've never seen somebody so passionate about the people who work that work for him. Scott is a hands-on guy. He likes to be out. He likes to be in the field. He likes to be plowing the streets. That's why I think Sean Hartness has been a real valuable pool. When it comes to Julie Robinson, quite frankly, I wasn't convinced we needed a full-time HR person. She's proven me wrong so many ways. She has done more for freeing up Chris and ours time, something we almost did on the side, and made it such a priority. And what she does, it's very impressive. I know Mark's not here, but you can be a finance director and just deal with the finances, or you can help out everybody who's doing other stuff that has to do with money, because about everything we do has to do with money. And when you're writing together a grant application, or you're administering a grant, and all the paperwork and all the junk that has to be done, Mark does everything selfishly. There's no island. There's nobody. This is mine. He's an ultimate team player. And then I want to talk, when Chris came in the door, which I believe Bruce Hawk had something to do about even letting him know about the position being open. I think it was more than just grabbing hold of things like the PFAS and getting us on the right track and putting us at a point where I think we're farther ahead than a lot of communities. But it was also being able to, the fire station, the zoning code rewrite, Riverside Drive and Love Madeira Road. I will tell you that engineering backgrounds is a good tool for future city managers. So, and I would say that if I'm ever to speak to future city managers, which I won't be, but if anybody else ever speaks to them, it really is good. And it's just been a real gift, just an incredible gift to the city to have Chris here. And of course, I can't undermine how much the 19 committees do for the city. And of course, the collaboration that we have with council is wonderful. If you're not buying into what we're doing, none of this works. And I can't say enough. Just the only thing I'm going to say personally, it's just, it's a true honor to get to work with all of you, and of course to get to work with people in this room, and the public works guys, the firefighters, the police officers, everyone that makes the city tick. And that's it till next year.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments or questions to that? Yes, Mr. Goodyear.
I just want to say that in reading this report, it's just so impressive to me, and it means so much from my perspective. That you get to sit on council, and we have these meetings every 2 years, we create these goals, and to watch really a lean staff, a number of very dedicated people, take those goals and put them into fruition, and at the same time maintain a very fiscally responsible, very fiscally strong city. I just think it's so impressive. I just wanted to say that I certainly very much appreciate it. It makes our job a lot easier, having the ability to have people like you and the staff that works in the city to take care of these things, and it's very much appreciated.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Hart.
I want to take Mr. Goodyear's comments one step further in terms of watching over the year to year, there's certainly, it's impressive what gets done year to year. But I'll go back even a little bit further to 2022 when the comp plan came in, and there was a commitment from Mr. Kennedy and staff to not let that sit on the shelf and to try to make as much of that come true as possible before that next cycle comes up. And to have just seen year after year how we gain on what's in that plan and what the residents in the city asked for throughout that plan, and our goals continue to align with that. But none of that happens if our city staff is not being so diligent and so steadfast in staying the path and making those things continually happen year after year after year, continuing to advance those projects that are important to what you see Loveland kind of becoming. So I'm just very thankful for the work that you guys do. Everybody on our staff is incredibly impressive, and the work that we continue to see done by our staff year after year is just amazing. So thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Just I appreciate the format of this, Mr. Kennedy, because I think it really speaks to your just your character and how much you have the finger on the pulse of all of these different aspects of the city organization. I think a lot of municipalities might be bigger or more sophisticated and have the ability to sort of hide behind fancy spreadsheets and graphs and images. It takes a lot to fill a memo with this much concise language that covers such a broad base of the city's operations, and you did it. I'm sure you did this from memory, probably, just knowing all of this. And the other thing I think that stuck out to me is just how intentional you were at mentioning in this memo and this annual report, as well as in your remarks, all of the people that come to make this great team that implements these plans to such success and ongoing stability. So again, I just thank you for all that you have done and the team that you lead and all of those that contribute to this. I think the other thing that stood out was just your knowledge and your awareness of the system that we need to operate in terms of all of the different funding mechanisms and the different institutional collaborations that's required, both within the organization and the different agencies that are represented, departments, but also the community at large. So again, I think you have really built something incredible here, and we've all been able to witness it. And I think appreciation is hard to put into words, because it's quite literally our daily lives are impacted by the decisions and the operations that the city has run. So again, thanks for leading that team and for continuing to do so and be that consistent sounding board of collaboration and compassion for your team, your staff, us, and the residents at large. So thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I would just say there are a couple things that could easily be taken for granted because you make it look so easy. And one certainly is how much work gets done. It's almost like where's the wizard behind the curtain, because it's really a lean staff that does a whole lot. And it's pretty amazing what you all accomplish. And that's a testament to Dave and to everybody that works for Dave and everybody that works for the city, because it does take working together and rowing in the same direction to make everything happen like it does. So very big thank you to Mr. Kennedy and to all of our staff for everything you do. And the other certainly is, I mean, when we were talking, for example, about Loveland Madeira and the gap, I thought he's going to tell us next we've got a grant that we're probably going to get, because we don't take that for granted, but it becomes rather commonplace a little bit, because we do seem to get more than our fair share, perhaps. Don't repeat that to anyone, but that certainly is because of all your hard work, and there's so much. I hear about it. We hear about it in meetings and elsewhere all the time that is spent in writing for these grants. It's not just let's apply for this grant. It is hours and hours of time, and it is cultivating relationships and making follow-up phone calls and whatever else it takes to get us that money. And yeah, we can have all the great ideas in the world, but if we don't have the money to implement them, that doesn't do us much good unless we want to go into debt, which we're not inclined to do. So thank you all. This was an amazing presentation, and makes us feel good about everything that's happening in this city. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to add that Kelsey Richards and Chris, that we've reached the sort of the whole team effect with the grant applications, and that makes things a lot easier. It was hard for Kelsey to follow in the shoes of Cindy Kloppenstein, but boy, has she done it. And she's working with Chris on the OPWC. Great, they were able to put that package together for Love Madeira Road. And I'm sorry, I feel bad I didn't touch on Kelsey, but she really is just a wonderful aspect of the city.
Well, now she got her own spot.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. All right. Ms. Clark.
So each year, City Council gives 2 awards. The first is the Loveland Business Enhancement Award, and that recognizes a business within the city that has demonstrated growth in operations or employees and has made significant efforts to improve the appearance of their property. That can include renovations, building additions, painting, landscaping, or other beautification projects. Council also gives the Louis G. Rockwood Community Service Award that honors volunteers who have dedicated their time and talents to serving the city of Loveland. For each nomination, we ask that you include a brief history or a small resume highlighting their contributions and accomplishments. If council agrees with this schedule, I recommend that nominations are submitted at our next meeting on April 14th. The selections are voted on at our April 28th meeting, and the awards be presented at the May 12th meeting.
All right. Any questions, comments? Maybe send a reminder that week before.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. Kennedy.
So this is just a memo requesting a public hearing for a license for the Landing Event Center. Wilderness Capital, aka Mr. Maloff, he was talking to some of us with the city, and he was really struggling with Landing Event Center, and just there was no location. There's property owners at each of his, which is lack of better words, a panhandle type property, and was inquired whether or not the city could potentially assist with a very simple entrance sign across the street. And we did some digging, and certainly I think the city tries to do everything we can to help out our businesses. We do a lot. Obviously, we do licenses for seating and everything, many things, obviously. So we looked at it, and we did. If you've ever down in the hallway by our offices, those historical maps are just incredible. But I wasn't really sure, and that's actually that stretch there where the flashing sign is actually where Taylor Street used to be prior to people driving for the trestle in the old days. And so it actually is a perfect location for a sign. I spoke with our city engineer, Kelsey, and we had talked about once that she would work to come up with the exact sight lines. I stood out there the other day, and there's no visibility. There's a big electric pole to the left of that picture. That's the farthest edge of the city's boundary. We got plenty of room to work with to find that the right visibility, both safe visibility along with it working for the Landing Event Center. So this would simply request a public hearing at your April 14th meeting for the granting of a license.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Would someone care to make a motion consistent with the request here?
Sure. I'll set up public hearing for the April 14th, 2026 regular meeting of City Council to consider the license for Landing Event Center.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear,
Yes.
Ms. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker,
Yes.
Mr. Jernick,
Yes.
Mayor Bailey.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Announcements. Registration is open for the Memorial Day Parade, which will be held on May 25th at 9 a.m. Details are available on the city's website. City is hiring a full-time mechanic maintenance worker to join the Public Works team. Applications are available on the city's website and will be accepted until April 3rd. Fun facts
I was waiting for this.
for the month of March. In March of 1949, oh, you'll enjoy this, Chief. You too are way overpaid. Council increased the compensation of the chief of police to $2,040 per year,
Ooh.
making a little more than that, I think. In March of 1950, Misty likes this fact. City Council approved the petition of a majority of affected freeholders to detach certain lands in the Hamilton-Mainville School District from the village of Loveland and attach them to Hamilton Township, Warren County. So we lost people in 1950.
Just saying it happened.
You should name these people. I have their names.
Ooh.
I have their name.
Bad group of people. They didn't want to be in Loveland any longer. March of 1961, City Council adopted an ordinance to divide the city into 4 wards. Hopefully, we've changed that by law since then, 'cause otherwise we're doing it all wrong. That's law. In March of 1971, City Council adopted a resolution honoring the Loveland Hearst basketball team who played in the Ohio State District playoffs in Dayton. First team in Loveland Hearst High School history to attain this level of distinction in competitive basketball. And, in March of 1972, City Council authorized the city manager to advertise for the purchase of 3 new police cruisers, and we did that jointly with the City of Madeira and Village of Indian Hill. We didn't share our cruisers.
No, I think everybody was buying cruisers.
Oh, a lot of cruisers bought that. Okay. Does anyone have any announcements? All right, we need a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G2 to consider the purchase and sale of property.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear,
Yes.
Ms. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Ms. Hazel Baker,
Yes.
Mr. Jarnick,
Yes.
Mayor Bailey,
Yes.
Mayor Bateman.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Uh-oh.
Are we back? Okay, we're back at 8:15. Is there something, Ms. Hamlin, you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, I just had a comment about the mayor's court reports, report. It appears to be all financial, and I'm wondering if there isn't an opportunity to maybe get some additional data behind that. Like concentration of where these offenses are occurring, that kind of thing. I noticed, like in a neighboring community, which I won't name because it gets a lot of attention, but like they actually have their mayor's court stuff on a website, and you can filter by type of offense and where they're occurring at, and names, and maybe it gives an opportunity for a broader discussion about safety and enforcement and things like that. So anyways, just a thought and a suggestion.
Thank you. All right, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Hamlin,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Ms. Hazelbaker,
Yes.
Mr. Jarnick,
Yes.
Mayor Bailey,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.